What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Backup Fantasy Sports. It is Friday, July 28th. My name is Ewan, and on today's episode, we are going to be getting into some Fantasy Premier League with some preseason risers and fallers. Game action is underway. A lot of teams have already played 2 friendlies, some more than that, but definitely lots to break down. There are a lot of more detailed content that you can find on rotoballer.com, fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, Fantasy Football Hub. I would definitely recommend checking out all those sites for your FPL written content needs, as long as some great videos on YouTube. Hopefully, along with this one, I'm not going to be covering everything, just 3 risers and 3 fallers from the preseason that I've been watching, reading about, kind of trying to whittle down the player pool as we get within 2 weeks of the Premier League starting. So let's get right into it here with our first riser. It's going to be Richarlison. So this is a little bit of a speculative ad here. He scored a hat trick against the Lion City Sailors the other night. He came on in the second half after a lot of the first team had been rotated out. But 7 million for possible out of position midfielder. Harry Kane might leave for Bayern Munich. Sounds like that is starting to gain traction. I believe the owner is supposed to be meeting with Bayern Munich this week to discuss a potential transfer. Last year, Richarlison underperformed his expected goals as well. He scored that 1 goal against Liverpool to tie the game up 3-3. It was not meant to be for Spurs that day, but Richarlison has the potential, maybe not a natural replacement for Harry Kane. There could be a lot of options that Tottenham go with next season, but he would be one of the guys that I think a huge bandwagon would start if Harry Kane were to leave the Premier League and the Fantasy Premier League game. So definitely in my thoughts right now. He's not going to be in my draft, but as of right now, but if Harry Kane does leave, Richarlison will be right up there. Next is our first faller, and this Evan Ferguson. I saw this tweet from FPL Mate the other day, and it definitely kind of vibed with what I was seeing in the preseason. Evan Ferguson has only played 45 minutes so far for Brighton. And just look at the list of guys here. Brighton has 4 attackers in their starting 11, but all of these options to choose from at these positions: March, Matoma, Ferguson, Welbeck, Enciso, João Pedro, Undav, Adingra, which I'm not sure. He's been a little bit of a preseason darling, but we will see. Buonanotte, and Lallana. Lots of options there. Brighton do have several. They have a European competition this year, so there's going to be a lot of rotation with that competition, with the Premier League, League Cup, FA Cup, kind of all comes along. And as we saw at the end of last year with Brighton's double game weeks, De Zerbi is not afraid of rotating his squad. It may have been towards the end of the season, so he just wanted to get players a little bit of a rest, especially after they locked up the Europa League spot with that tie against Man City at the end of the year. But this tweet definitely kind of goes along with the narrative that Evan Ferguson was in my first draft. He's not in there anymore. I'm going to talk about why, as I've kind of fallen in love with another price bracket at the forward position here a little bit later. But yeah, Evan Ferguson, he was certainly in my thoughts as soon as the game came out. I kind of thought he was going to take the next step, but the preseason vibes are not great. That could definitely change if he puts in like a 75-minute, a 90-minute performance in one of Brighton's remaining friendlies. But for now, the Irishman has kind of fallen down the ranks of my FPL wish list. Next up is Ben Chilwell, because he looked absolutely phenomenal against Brighton in their summer series game last weekend. As you can see here from the quote that I pulled from Fantasy Football Scout, the manager wanted me to get forward as much as possible. It's also my game to try and get forward as much as possible. The spaces were there, and I tried to exploit that. I tried to get in behind as much as possible. I think I did that. So he said that after the game, he was in a bunch of attacking spots. Definitely very encouraging. And if you look at Chelsea, everyone's kind of off them for their game week 1 against Liverpool. But if that game was game week 21, right before this excellent run of fixtures, no one would care. They would just take it and run. So Chelsea from game week 2, they have West Ham on the road, Luton at home, Nottingham Forest at home, Bournemouth on the road, Aston Villa at home, Fulham on the road, and Burnley on the road. Lots and lots of blue on the Fantasy Football Scout fixture ticker for that fixture list. Plenty of attacking opportunities, plenty of clean sheet opportunities there. Ben Chilwell, 5.5. He is kind of rising up the ranks, and he is taking the place of the next guy here, Luke Shaw. Nothing has happened to Luke Shaw individually to make me want to get away from him, but the surrounding cast is starting to take shape. I love Onana at 5 million. Thank you to the FPL game for making him that price. If it was 5.5, that would have been pretty rough. Never really like to go full premium on a goalkeeper there. But for 5 million, he offers a cheaper route into the Man United defense that led the league with 17 clean sheets last year. David De Gea won the Gold Glove, but he's gone now. Onana came in, first game against Real Madrid. Yes, they lost 2-0, but everything was super encouraging. Passing, left, right, like very accurate, suits Ten Hag's system perfectly. I think he's going to get into the bonus points quite a lot. And if Man United keep a clean sheet, Onana gets a couple of saves, I think he's going to steal some of those bonus points away from Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw will remain a great FPL asset by himself. But as we're trying to save money, trying to fit better players with a loaded midfield, but perhaps maybe a Trent or a Salah or even a Harry Kane if he stays, I think we're trying to find those $500,000 that we can save right there. And if you look at Man United's fixtures to start the year, you've got Wolves at home. Not sure how Spurs are going to look right now on the road. Nottingham Forest at home. So that is potentially 2 clean sheets in the first 3. And if United keep a clean sheet, you would think that Onana is going to get some of those bonus points. Arsenal on the road, going to be very tough. Brighton at home, they actually lost that game 2-0 to start the year last year, 2-1 to start the year last year. Burnley and Crystal Palace. So there's a fair chance that there's a few Man United clean sheets to begin the year. And if Onana keeps the ball out of the net, I think he will be in the bonus, affecting Luke Shaw's bonus points. And with Man United adding a couple of creators this year, the new second year and the new system, Mason Mount's here, I'm just kind of curious to see where Luke Shaw fits in with this kind of upgraded Man United squad. So for now, he is a faller during the preseason. One last riser here is Ollie Watkins. This is what I'm talking about as I have started to fall in love with the 8 million forward price bracket. And for me, I think I'm going to go with him over Gabriel Jesus because I think there are more attacking options, or not more attacking options. I just think at Arsenal, there are better and more versatile options to go with rather than locking yourself into Gabriel Jesus at 8 million. He's not the sole like prong in the attack for Arsenal. You've got Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, Odegaard, Trossard. All these guys have been popping up their heads. Havertz has been popping up in the preseason. They just won 5-3 at Barcelona. So a ton to think about there at Arsenal with so many options. You can go so many different routes. Whereas Ollie Watkins, he's really the main guy for his team. Under Unai Emery, he has really flourished since he took over last year. 175 points last year, 23 attacking returns, 4.7 points per match, which is just below Jesus, but 18.81 expected goal involvement. And he's in half as many teams as Jesus is right now. So he's a sort of a differential that we can get away with. And I know Arsenal's fixtures are fantastic to begin the year, but Villa's aren't that bad either. This is from game week 2 through game week 5. Everton at home, Burnley on the road. That Liverpool game is a bit of a bummer, but then Crystal Palace at home as well. And then if you actually extend that out from game weeks 2 to game weeks 9, I believe. Yep, that's what I was looking at this morning. Game week 9, Villa is actually ahead of Arsenal in the attacking fixture difficulty for from the Fantasy Football Scout.co.uk members site, where they have an excellent fixture ticker. You can sort by difficulty, all that stuff. Highly recommend. So Ollie Watkins is another riser for me this preseason. He also has bagged a couple of goals in each of Aston Villa's preseason friendlies. The final faller here is Trent Alexander-Arnold, and this is going to be one of the more controversial fallers. I already know 8 million, expensive. There's a lot of teams that are not do not have Trent right now. And Liverpool's in a little bit of flux. Saudi Arabia has kind of come and they've poached Jordan Henderson away. Sounds like that Fabinho deal is going to get across the line. And in the first 2 friendlies for Liverpool, Trent Alexander-Arnold has played the defensive midfielder kind of 6 role, and Connor Bradley has played the inverted fullback role. At JJ_Bull on Twitter pointed this out. He was very, in 45 minutes, Connor Bradley was very impressive. He came inside. He was up alongside Trent. He actually started both games at right back for Liverpool during those friendlies. Something to watch going forward if Liverpool don't pick up a natural 6 replacement in the remainder of the transfer window, although it sounds like they are in on Lavia from Southampton and perhaps a couple of other guys. So yeah, Trent is a faller. Just not saying he won't be in my game week 1 team, but just his stock has taken a tiny bit of a hit with the changes that Liverpool have experienced over the last couple of weeks. Losing Jordan Henderson, Fabinho's gone or should be gone soon. Henderson's been playing the 6, hasn't been as creative. He had an assist in the last friendly, but we'll need to wait and see if Liverpool can get another guy in the squad so Trent can go back to that hybrid role that he really thrived in towards at the end of the 2022-2023 Fantasy Premier League season, where he just kind of shot up the charts after the World Cup. Didn't nearly catch Kieran Trippier, but was probably on pace for another 200-point season if we just take his second half stats. But a quick video today for me on Friday, July 28th. There's going to be lots of preseason games. There were some last night. The summer series is still ongoing. Liverpool play their next friendly on Sunday against Leicester, I believe, in Singapore. Man United, Arsenal, all these teams are over in the States also. So definitely tons of Premier League content or preseason Premier League content to watch. You should also check out today on rotoballer.com. We are releasing our midfielders preview. I will tweet that out at you in or you out. You can also follow me on Instagram at Backup Fantasy Sports, which is kind of the channel's social media feed. And then always like and subscribe the video. Didn't play the little ticker thing down here this episode, but would really appreciate any feedback, like, subscribe, just hit 50 subscribers. So small milestone, but still worth celebrating. So thanks for all of the support, whether you're watching my Fantasy Premier League content or my F1 Fantasy content, which is Spa, which is happening today. So you should definitely check that video out as well if you are one of those people that play both of those fantasy sports like myself. But once again, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next time.